as Gervonta Tank Davis moving up to 140 pounds to challenge the unbeaten Mario Barrios. It will headline a Showtime pay-per-view event from the State Farm Arena. There will be 4 fights on that fight card, and today you're going to hear from 4 fighters from 2 of the fights you'll also see on this card. In fact, you'll see the co-main will feature the former unified champion Jeison Rosario taking on the Hammer Erickson Lubin, and you'll also see the return of another former unified champ as Julian J. Rock Williams makes his return to the ring against Brian Mendoza. You're going to hear from those fighters. We'll also take questions from members of the media. The event is being brought to you, of course, by Premier Boxing Champions. It's being promoted by TGB Promotions, GTD Promotions, and Mayweather Promotions. Before I get to the fighters, let me introduce the president and, of course, the promoter, CEO of Mayweather Promotions, Mr. Leonard Ellerby.
Thank you, Brian. Again, as you mentioned, this is a really terrific card from top to bottom. And in the opening television bout, we have Barrios Undercard taking on Argenis Mendez. And you got, when you think about Argenis Mendez, you think about a durable veteran who's been in there, and we know that he comes to fight. He's not going to take a step backwards. And Barrios, he's a fighter that, again, is very, very impressive. Obviously, lots of us remember from the bout with Barrios, you know, he suffered 2 knockdowns in the bout, but he came back and made it a very, very tough fight. So that's going to be a tremendous matchup. And then we roll right into one of my favorite fighters, former unified champion of Julian J. Rock Williams. Again, he'll be taking on the tough Brian Mendoza. That should be a very, very entertaining bout. And again, J. Rock, he'll be looking to, you know, make a big statement to show that he's a force to be reckoned with, and he'll be looking to get back in the mix with the other top 154 pounders. And then from that bout, we'll roll right into the co-main event. And the co-main event, wow, we talking about that fight, that bout alone with Lubin versus Rosario, that bout alone could be a main event alone. So again, we're just really, really excited, again, to be putting on another terrific, terrific card from top to bottom. Really excited.
Thank you, Leonard. And he's right. I mean, whether it is Mayweather Promotions, whether it's TGB Promotions and Showtime, we are all about high stakes, meaningful fights. And that's exactly what this fight card has. Let's talk to the fighters. We'll start, of course, with Julian Williams, 27-2 and 1, 16 knockouts. He is the former unified champ. Real quick, J-Rock, if you would, just give members of the media an update on how camp is going and what should they expect when J-Rock makes his return to the ring on June 26th.
Camp is going really good. You know, I've been out here for a few weeks now, just working and grinding and putting in work. And you guys can expect an explosive performance and expect me to win June 26th.
And of course, J-Rock has been training in Vegas. He'll be facing, though, Brian Mendoza, 19-1. 13 of his victories have come by knockout. And Brian, if you would, let members of the media know how your training camp has been going and what should they expect when you get into the ring with J-Rock.
Absolutely. Training camp has been going great, you know, out here in Vegas too. Just been grinding, man. It's a very big opportunity and I plan to take full advantage of it. So you guys can expect 100%, man, everything I got in me.
All right, J-Rock, let me start with you before we get to questions from members of the media. Like yourself, hey, listen, we just had another former unified champion, Jarrett Hurd, on Showtime. He was coming off longest, basically layoff of his career. Like yourself, new trainer, found himself in a dogfight with Luis Arias and an opponent he thought he should have beaten, but he ends up losing a split decision. How do you prevent that from happening to you?
I just got to be myself, you know. I think one fight has absolutely nothing to do with the other. You know, Luis Arias and Jarrett Hurd has nothing to do with Julian Williams and Brian Mendoza. I think none of the other 3 fighters are as skilled as I am. And I'm planning on showing that on June 26th. One fight has nothing to do with the other.
Brian, I was reading about this fight, and ThreeKingsBoxing.com had an interview with you, and in it you said, "quote I am no food for anyone. I will show J-Rock what I'm about." Tell us what you meant by that. I think Brian froze on us.
He froze up.
Yeah, I think Brian froze on us. Until we get Brian back, let me go back to you, J-Rock. One of the things I thought was interesting was when we had a discussion on my podcast, and I asked you about that the last time we saw you fight. You said, "Listen, maybe I let my guard down, didn't respect the sport." How do we know that won't happen again when you're back in the ring?
I mean, I didn't necessarily let my guard down. I knew who I was fighting. I knew Rosario was a good fighter. I think some unfortunate things happened during camp, and my decisions that I made is what I meant by me not respecting the sport. From the decisions I made during camp, it had nothing to do with me, not focusing or not training hard. That was never the case. So I don't. I can't. I had a good camp, and I'm prepared to fight. I'm prepared to win.
How different of a fighter is J-Rock now that you've got this new trainer, Sugar Hill, one of the great trainers in boxing? You were with Stephen Everett for a long time. How different of a fighter will we see when you're back in the ring?
I'm not sure. I mean, you guys are always going to see a hungry, focused fighter when I step in the ring, no matter what the outcome is. I'm not sure how much different I'll look. I think when fighters get with new coaches, sometimes it takes time for the change to start to set in. So we'll see.
It begs the question too: is Julian J-Rock Williams still one of the top 5 fighters? Because this division is loaded at 154. Is he still the elite, one of the top 5 fighters at 154 pounds?
I'm the best fighter in the division. I told you that last week. The last time we talked. Just the best fighter just lost, that's all. LeBron had bad nights. Jordan lost. Michael Jordan had bad nights. Julian Williams could have a bad night too. I'm still the best fighter in the division.
How anxious are you to get back in the ring?
Very anxious.
I love it. Focused. Greg, I know there are a number of members of the media who probably have questions for J-Rock. So let's bring in Greg Domino, of course, from our communications department of Showtime. Greg, tell the members of the media, all you have to do, raise your hand bar there in the Zoom, and he will get to you. Tell us who you're with and ask your question.
Thank you very much, Brian. First question comes from Keith Idek of Boxing Scene. Corey, I need access to be able to allow them to talk. I don't have that. Bear with us.
While he gets that.
I'm in the room. Keith isn't here. Is he under a different name on the account?
There's Keith.
No aliases for me. Hey, Julian, how you doing, man?
I'm pretty good.
Thanks, man. Can you tell us how long you've been in Vegas? You've been there for a decent amount of time now, right? And how it's gone with a new training environment for yourself.
It's going really good, actually. Only thing I don't like is this heat, man. It's too dry. But the training has been going really good. I've been here for about 5 weeks going on.
Did you feel like you needed, I guess in some sense you did, right? That you just needed maybe a new place to train, a new environment, just to try to change things up for yourself?
No, not really. Not a new environment. It's just that Sugar Hill was holding camp out here with Tyson Fury. So I met him out here and decided to work out here. I don't care where I train. As long as there's this gym and some heavy bags, I can get the job done.
Okay. Can you just tell us specifically how it's gone with Sugar Hill since you guys have been together? Maybe not giving away your game plan or anything, of course, but maybe some of the things that you feel you've worked on and improved on.
I don't really want to get into what I worked on and improved on, but it's been going really smooth actually, and we kind of like clicked from the beginning. And I like his training. I like his training style. So I think it's going good.
Did you know him much before you got together with him, or did you know, like personally, did you know him much or no?
No. I met him a few times in passing, but that was about it.
How did you guys come together?
Mutual friend. I reached out to see if he was interested, and he was. We had a conversation, and then I went out to Detroit to sit down and talk. We trained for a few days, and that was that.
Okay. You mentioned before that you made some mistakes, not necessarily not training hard or anything. Can you elaborate on some of the things maybe that went wrong for you in that camp that you mentioned earlier? You alluded to.
I'd rather not, man. It was 17 months ago, man. It's history now. Anything now sounds like an excuse, so I'd rather not, talk about it. I'm just focused on, Brian Mendoza. I don't want to go back and, talk about things that happened in the past.
I know that you couldn't do anything about it because the world changed dramatically for everyone.
Yeah.
Did it make it that much more difficult for you that you had to wait so long to get back into the ring because of the pandemic?
It did. You know what made it more difficult was I had a fight schedule. I probably would have been the only top fighter in the world to fight 2 times the COVID year. And when I got back in camp, I was actually out here in Vegas again, and I caught Corona, and my fight got scrapped. So it's been a difficult 17 months for me, but I just kept persevering through and kept working hard, and looking to put on a great performance.
You were supposed to fight in December originally, right?
December 26th.
Yeah. Well, how did you react to COVID? How did you feel? I mean, did you have bad symptoms, or how did you deal with it?
It wasn't bad at first. I didn't I'm thinking this is BS. And then once I got back home, I started feeling some symptoms, and but they subsided within the first couple. I say about a week and a half. I was pretty good.
How long did it keep you out of the gym?
Maybe about 2 weeks. But around that time, the gyms were closed anyway.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So.
Hey, excuse me, guys. I just popped back in. My phone overheated.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Keith. Next question will be from Jeremy Herigis of Fansided.
Hi, Julian. Hi, Brian. First question's for Julian. You talked about training. You were supposed to have a fight in November. Do you feel that even though you didn't have that fight, the anticipation for it and the work that you put in has kept you primed and ready for this moment?
Absolutely, because I went through a whole 4-week camp. I never really stopped training, and then when I got to Vegas in November, I was already in shape, and I basically went through like a half a camp. My weight was really good. I was probably about 12 pounds overweight once my fight got canceled. So it was almost like a full camp, but it just kept me, something that kept me motivated, kept my mouth watering.
I know that sometimes when fighters go in and out of training camps and they have extended periods of time, they can feel overtrained. Is there any fear that you're overtrained at this point?
No, not at all. Not at all. I've been pro for 10 years. I know when to kind of turn it down and pick it up, and keep my weight in check and not make sure I don't peak too soon. And I pretty much know what I'm doing.
Question for Brian, if Brian's on there.
Yeah.
Brian, I know that looking at your record, it's a strong record. There's one blemish on there which came in 2019 against Larry Gomez, but it was a split decision. Looking back at that fight, is that something that you felt that you won, and do you feel like that that blemish really shouldn't exist?
Yeah, but it's not about looking back and crying about what happened in the past. There's always a million excuses behind the scenes, but it is what it is, and I learned from it. You guys saw the change in performances even from that fight to finally being more comfortable and everything at 154 in the next one. And I feel like this fight's even more again, so it's the type of fight that'll pull out even more for me, and you guys will see another big jump in skill wise and everything.
Thank you, gentlemen, and best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. We have one last question from Jim Conlon.
Hi, Julian. Hi, Brian. Brian, my question here is for Julian. Julian, in terms of going forward, in terms of the big fights, in terms of your career, you mentioned that the bad night in the office in terms of slip-ups. Can you afford any slip-ups now going forward if Julian Williams wants to achieve what he wants to achieve? Is the slip-ups out of the order going forward anymore?
Well, I think no fighter can afford slip-ups. You know, in the era of boxing we're in, you know, losses are frowned upon. You know, so it's not just me. No fighter can afford a slip-up. So every fight is kind of like, you know, do or die for me. It's always been like that, though, so it's nothing new for me.
And lastly, just for Brian there, Brian, do you feel you have everything to gain in this fight and nothing to lose?
Absolutely. You know, it's I keep telling people on fight night, you're not going to see someone that's just, you know, happy, like one of those guys like, oh, I, you know, got to get to this point. I have big goals and everything, and I feel like this is, like I keep saying, you know, that perfect fight. So you're going to see me come with everything and coming for a victory. You're not just seeing someone that's happy to be there. So absolutely everything to gain.
Best luck to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Back to you, Brian.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. And I know, Julian, you've got an engagement and you have to run. Brian,
Yeah, I go to the gym.
Absolutely. Brian, my question for you, since J-Rock is here, he's coming off the longest layoff of his career, got a new trainer for this fight. Do you think you're catching Julian Williams at the right time?
Yes, but not because of that. It's more about me. You know, I'm worried about me. I believe this is the right time. You know, I'm 27 years old. I've been a pro, you know, for years and years now. I just feel like now the schooling that I've had with Ismael Salas is finally really coming out, you know, just hitting that next level. Even, you know, the sparring's been different, the training and everything. And that's why, you know, I'm not worried about, you know, what's going on there because he has all this stuff, but I know he's still coming with everything, you know, to prove he's still got it, that he's still in the mix and everything. So I'm not really looking at his negatives. I'm looking at my positives.
And lastly, on threekingsboxing.com, you had an interview with him. You said, quote, "I'm no food for anyone. I'm coming for Julian Williams." Tell us what you meant by that.
You know exactly what I said a minute ago. A lot of people get to this point, you know, they get a big fight like this and they're like, wow, you know, I made it. You know, they get happy just to be there. But
quote,
you're not going
no
to see that at all.
And
what
anyone.
I mean by that is I have big goals, man. You know, I've always visualized, you know, being at the top of the sport, you know, climbing to the very top, not just, you know, oh, happy, you know, I got this kind of opportunity. That's why, you know, I'm taking full advantage, and you're going to see someone very, very hungry in there that night.
And J-Rock, we'll let you go with this. You now know who Brian Mendoza is. What do you think of him as a fighter? What should we expect when you get in the ring with him on the 26th?
Expect him to get beat. I've been to who Brian Mendoza was. He's a decent fighter, but he's going to lose.
I tell you what, this is the kind of fight you want to stay in tune and in touch and watch. Brian Mendoza, he's only lost once. Julian J-Rock Williams, the former unified champ. They will be on this fight card. Best of luck to both of you, gentlemen. J-Rock, thank you. Brian, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And again, the co-main is another phenomenal fight, as you heard Leonard Ellerby say at the very top. You got the former unified champion again in Jeison Rosario, a man who beat J-Rock. So you have him taking on the Hammer, Erickson Lubin, one of the most exciting, powerful young studs at 154, has just one loss. But I tell you what, this has got one of those, all the components that could be fight of the year and really steal the card because of how explosive both of these guys are. First of all, let's start with the Hammer, Erickson Lubin. Erickson, if you could just give us a word on how camp has been going and what should we expect when the Hammer steps into the ring with Jeison Rosario.
Erickson, can you turn your phone sideways?
Like this.
It's locked. Yeah, you could just put it back where it was.
All right. You hear me?
Yeah, we
Sounds
hear you.
great. Go right ahead.
It's been the best camp of my life. I know it sounds cliche. I know everybody says it, but this has been the best camp of my life, man. My career. You know, I've been in the gym since my last fight. I knew I made a few mistakes my last fight, but you know, due to COVID, there was a lot of different things we had to like, you know, get accustomed to. But you know, things are opening back up a little bit more, and you know, me and Kevin, we've been at it since, you know, the new year, even before the new year, and we come in here to make a statement on June 26th. We want to make a statement on Showtime pay-per-view. You know, it's a big card, it's a stacked card, and we ready to show the 154-pound division that I'm the best. I heard J-Rock saying he was the best, but I'm the best.
Love it. I love it. And of course, the hammer, and as Erickson was talking about, talks about Kevin Cunningham is his trainer. He will be facing Banana, Jeison Rosario, the former unified champ, suffered defeat last time we saw him to Jermell Charlo. And Jeison, the same for you. If you could, I know Herman Casado is there with him. Just give us a word on how camp has been going for this fight and what should we expect when you take on Erickson Lubin.
¿Qué tal ha sido el campamento hasta ahora? ¿Y cómo te sientes contra la pelea de Erickson?
Bueno, el campamento ha sido súper bueno. Creo que es el mejor campamento que he tenido. He experimentado mucho y por lo tanto me atrevo a decir que el mejor campamento que he tenido en toda mi carrera.
He feels very healthy, very strong. It's been a great camp so far. Probably one of the better ones he's been able to do. So he feels very, very strong, very good. He's already at the weight, as I'm sure Eric is already as well. Lubin is already as well. So we're ready to go, and he feels great. Can't wait.
I'll start with you, Jeison, because last time we saw you fight against Charlo, you told us you felt like that was one of the best camps you had, and Charlo got you with what looked like a jab to the stomach that put you down, and it looked as if your body was spasming. Can you tell us, because we haven't had the opportunity to talk to you since then, what happened in that fight and with that jab to the stomach?
Que en la última pelea tú dijiste lo mismo, que era el mejor campamento de tu carrera, y básicamente dicen que Charlo te tumbó y te terminó la pelea con un jab abajo. ¿Qué quieres comentar?
Sí, por lo tanto, lo he dicho, este ha sido mejor que el anterior. En el campamento anterior, no dar detalles, pero no se parece ni es igual al de hoy.
That was the past. That's over. This is a new camp. He feels strong. He stands by his comment, and that's it. Moving forward.
You do have a new trainer there in Herman. Tell us why. Why'd you change trainers?
Que tienes un entrenador nuevo en mi persona, y por qué cambiaste de entrenador y qué fue la razón.
Bueno, realmente creí que necesitaba un cambio en mi carrera. Que Germán fue la persona que me entrenó cuando perdí, pero yo no perdí porque estaba falta de entrenamiento, sino por la inexperiencia. Y con el entrenamiento de él me sentí bien. O sea, por eso volví de nuevo.
That he was looking for a change, not necessarily because of him losing. It was just probably the right timing. Coincidentally, it came with a loss, unfortunately, he says. But we've known each other for some time. We actually did train before. He knows my style. It's no nonsense. It's no excuses. It's all or nothing. So that's what he wanted this go around and moving forward. So that's the reason and the why.
Erickson, listen, you've made it no secret that you believe this fight with Rosario will be the fight of the night. I thought it was interesting. Your trainer, Kevin Cunningham, said this fight will be like Hagler versus Mugabe. Tell us why. Why do you think this has all the elements to be the fight of the night?
Well, because, it's fan friendly. He comes to fight, I come to fight. I can mix it up. I can box. I can bang. The fans are gonna love it, man. The fans are definitely gonna love it. I'm not the type of fighter that's just gonna, find an easy way out or anything. I'm looking to make a statement. I'd be satisfied. I'm definitely coming for the win. I know I'm a win, but you know, I'm looking to make a statement.
Jeison, you told the boxing scene, quote, Erickson Lubin is a great contender, but I will knock him out on June 26, end quote. Tell us why you're so confident.
Tú dijiste en una entrevista que Erickson Lubin es buen oponente, pero que tú lo vas a noquear día 26 de junio. ¿Por qué tú piensas así?
Bueno, lo primero es que el poder lo tengo para noquear a Lubin y a cualquier peleador de las 54 libras. Y creo que con los detalles y con el entrenamiento y con el aprendizaje que he tenido aquí, creo que es suficiente para terminar una pelea por nocaut contra Erickson Lubin, cualquier peleador de las 154 libras.
Well, first and foremost, he has the power to knock Erickson out and anyone at the 154-pound division. So that's the reason for the statement and the comment. Second is the camp that he's had and the little bit tidbits of southpaw knowledge that he's been able to do. You know, they call Kevin the southpaw whisperer, but I've had about 5 or 6 southpaws that I've trained as well that have gone on to do great things. I actually even trained Lubin for about a year, so I've had my share with southpaws. So it's not necessarily just because he's going to knock him out. It's because there's things that you got to do against southpaws that make it a little bit easier to fight a southpaw. Not that they're easy to fight at all. They're quite the contrary. But he feels the experience here will help him.
Nice. Erickson, your response to that? I mean, obviously, Rosario feels like he's got the power. And
listen, man, I think I'm a totally different fighter from when I was training with Herman. It's 2 different fighters in that, man. It's gonna be 2 different fighters. You know, me and Kevin, we work on a lot of things that, you know, not just the regular southpaw has. This is different. You know, I'm coming in there with a game plan that it's like a jigsaw puzzle. Feel me? So I think this is the wrong fight for him to take. You know, after coming off a knockout loss, and I'm just gonna show it on June 26th.
Jeison, before we get to reporter questions, let me ask you this. I remember the last time we saw you against Charlo, you said, I'm looking to show people why I'm the best at 154 and that it's no fluke that I'm the unified champ. What's the motivation going into this fight?
¿Cuál es la motivación en esta pelea para tú lucir bien, ganar tu pelea? Tú dijiste en la pelea de Charlo que tú eras el mejor en 154 y que no fue chiripazo por la razón que tú ganaste esa pelea. Entonces, ¿cuál es la motivación entrando en esta pelea que vas a tener?
Bueno, realmente la motivación que tengo es que hay muchos que creen que me voy a quedar en el piso y yo sé cómo levantarme. Quiero enseñarle a la gente que eso que dije no fue casualidad, que yo me hice campeón del mundo, que yo sí tengo el material y tengo el potencial para estar ahí con los mejores, con Charlo, con Lubin, con cualquiera.
He says that you know what happened with the Charlo fight, that was the fluke. That wasn't him winning the titles wasn't the fluke. And that he's going to show, which I have no doubt, because I know him, you know, some years now, and I know him as a man, that he will bounce back from that and figuratively speaking, get off the canvas and win his next fight, right? So yes, he has no problem taking the fight. He doesn't feel it's a mistake. This is what we do, you know, and we fight, and so he's very excited for June 26th, and expects Lubin to bring his best, as do I.
Lastly, Erickson, before I get to reporters, listen, Rosario is considered one of the biggest punchers in your division. In your opinion, this fight will come down to what?
It'll come down to who wants it more. It'll come down to who prepared better. It'll come down to a lot. I think I got power too. You feel me? So it's not just a power thing for me. It's more like skills got to be there. It got to be everything. You got to be clicking on all cylinders. Your mind got to be there. So I feel like I'm there mentally, I'm there physically, everything. I'm ready to fight. I've been ready to fight, and come June 26th, man, I can't wait. I've been ready to fight, like I said before, man. I'm ready.
And no fight fans can't wait to see this fight. Greg Domino again from Showtime Communications joins me. Greg, I know there's members of the media who got questions for these guys. Let's bring them in.
Thank you, Brian. We'll go to Jeremy Harriges first.
Hello. This first question's for Erickson. For Erickson, your last two wins have come against some really high-skilled, slick boxers in Terrell Gaucher and Nathaniel Gallimore. From those fights, what do you feel like you've gained as far as experience, and how did those fights, help you out as a boxer?
Well, I feel like I gained a lot of experience fighting both fights because, those are top contenders. Like I said before, I don't want any tune-up fights. That's why I even took the fight with Rosario. This is the fight that I wanted. I feel like I gained a lot of experience. I gained a lot of confidence. I'm clicking, man. I'm ready to show the world that I'm the best at 154 pounds.
You were talking about how in this fight you want to come out and make a statement. Charlo, took out Rosario in 8 rounds. Do you feel kind of a competitive nature to kind of try and beat that?
I'm always competitive, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if I knock him out or I don't. My job is to go in there and look good and come out victorious. That's my job. I plan on looking real good, being sharp like I am, being fast like I am, being powerful like I am. Just showing the world, I can make anybody in this division, look bad.
Question for Jeison. Jeison, I'm curious, how often have you gone back and rewatched the Charlo fight, and what did you learn from watching that fight?
Que si tú has visto la pelea de Charlo con tu derrota y que si has aprendido algo de esa pelea, primero que si la has visto.
Por cierto, anoche fue la primera vez que la vi después que pasó lo que pasó, y creo que sí, he aprendido de las derrotas, he aprendido un sinnúmero de cosas que lo voy a enseñar ahí el 26 de
He just coincidentally saw the fight last night for the first time. And, he did, obviously learn from his mistake. And he's corrected it. He said in this particular, 12 weeks, 14 weeks that we've been working. So, he's looking forward to showing that on the 26th of what he learned from that defeat.
One last question for Jeison. Looking at different fights that Erickson's had in the past, is there anything that shows you that he might be susceptible to some of your power?
Que si tú has visto las peleas de Erickson y que si tú has visto algo que te deja pensar a ti que tú vas a poder noquearlo.
Bueno, creo que sí. Realmente, Lubin es un peleador, un gran peleador. Hay que darle el mérito, tiene mucho talento. Pero con la presión, creo que con la presión y con el poder de las manos y tirando combinaciones de 4 o 5 golpes, creo que de esos 5 van a conectar 2 y van a salir.
That, he repeats that at 154, he can knock anyone out. So it's not necessarily just saying Lubin. He has seen some of his fights just as a fan, he says. And he says that Erickson is a phenomenal fighter, a great fighter at 154. It's not easy to land shots and to just get a clear home run shot on him. And that's not the plan, nor is that what he's thinking. So obviously there is a game plan, and obviously, if he does land, he feels that he can, but it's not just going to be walk in, hit him in the chin, and then he's out. Lubin is a phenomenal fighter. I can tell you that from experience myself as well. He can take shots, and he can definitely give shots. So it's a great fight, that's for sure.
Thank you, Erickson. Thank you, Jeison. Best of luck.
Muchas gracias.
And thank you, Jeremy. Next question will come from Jim Conlon.
Hi, my question there, first of all, is for Jeison. Jeison, I suppose the last time we spoke to you, it was in the Charo sort of fight, and there was an awful lot of bravado in that sort of press conference. You look an awful lot relaxed there in terms of this sort of fight. You look sort of at ease. You're feeling a lot more comfortable?
Que si te sientes cómodo, que te ves bien relajado y bien tranquilo. ¿Cómo te sientes?
No, sí, claro, me siento súper cómodo, me siento súper motivado, me siento excitado. Realmente quiero dar primeramente gracias a Dios por la oportunidad, porque esta es una gran oportunidad de darme defender y darme el chance de tener un peleador como lo es Erickson Lubin. Realmente gracias a Dios, gracias a todos los que hicieron que esto se diera.
He wants to thank first and foremost, the promotion, Showtime, and everybody involved in making this fight. Because coming off a loss, it's not always that you can get such a quality, high caliber type of fight. So he wants to thank everybody first and foremost. But he's very relaxed because he's done the work. It's been 12 weeks, 14 weeks, and he's done the work, and he's cut no corners. He's lived in the gym, for these 12, 14 weeks. He's succumbed to everything that's been asked of him. Like I said, as Kevin is, I'm not an easy guy also to just, skip by this whole camp. No, I'm demanding, and I don't cut corners. And at the end of the day, he passed all the exams, so he feels very confident, and he should, because this is what it should be like. It should be just relaxed, as Lubin is relaxed, and we're going to come in on the 26th and explode. So that's what everyone's waiting for.
And just a question there for Erickson there as well. We always hear in terms of Erickson potential. This guy is the potential to be the next great fighter, the next big thing. Erickson, in terms of that, we know your development so far. You've been going step by step up in the ladder in terms of difficulty of opponent. Do you want to feel like Erickson Lubin should be arriving at the stage now in terms of boxing, that you have all the potential in the world, that people should be sort of saying that Erickson Lubin is arrived at the big stage?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like, I'm taking on these tests because, by the time I become champion, I want to be able to say that I beat all the top guys in my division. I want to go down the list and see all the top guys go through and just be like, I beat that guy, I beat that guy, I beat that guy, I beat that guy. And that's just, that's just how I am. I'm a competitor. And I want to be able to just say I beat everybody in the division and fought everybody. And
Erickson, lastly for me, in terms of this fight, people will say Jeison's got an awful lot of power and he started a game. In terms of the durability in terms of that latter round, is it very much trying to make him, move him, push him around the ring, and I use your probably your stamina? Is it really your stamina against his power?
You'll see June 26th. I'm in shape. I'm ready to fight now. I was ready to fight weeks ago, and you'll see June 26th. I ain't gonna give up the game plan. Just tune in June 26th.
Best of luck, Jeison. Best of luck, Erickson.
Gracias y suerte.
Thank you, Jim. Next question comes from Keith Idek.
My first question is for Erickson. Erickson, I know you said earlier that you don't want to take any tune-up type fights, but you're already the #1 contender for Charlo's WBC title, and you have 2 very good wins back-to-back. You could have taken a path of lesser resistance. Why this fight at this time for you?
Like I said, I want to be able to say I beat that guy, beat this guy, all the top guys in the division. I want to be able to say I beat them.
Did you feel
when it's time for me to fight for the title, there won't be no doubt that I'm ready for it, or I ain't beat nobody. This is all a part of my legacy.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but did you feel like you needed to beat a guy like the former champion who just fought Jermall Charlo? Did you feel you need to beat someone like him to ensure that you're made the mandatory and to get that fight maybe against the Charlo Castaño winner?
It doesn't really matter to me because ever since my loss to Charlo, I fought nothing but tough competitions and guys like Ishe Smith who who fought J-Rock and Tony Harrison, had real close bouts with him. Nathaniel Gallimore, who's beaten the guy that I'm fighting now. Terrell Goucher, who's an Olympian, who comes ready to fight, who's technically sound. So it's like, if they would have gave me the fight now, I'd have been ready for the fight now. But, if they want to keep, if they want to keep throwing guys like this, the top guys in my face, then I'll continue beating those guys. And then, we'll get to, those belts. And not just fighting for one title, we'll be able to fight for all 4 titles when it's time.
Do you think Charlo will beat Castano?
I think so. But you never know. It's boxing. Castano comes ready to fight. Maybe the styles will mix up differently, but I think he beats Castano, if you ask me.
And then my last question for you, Erickson, is beating Rosario would be a huge statement for you in this fight next week. Do you then feel that you would get that fight next to fight for all 4 titles?
Yeah, I absolutely deserve it. All these other guys, they're getting the belts and they're giving them right back up the next fight. And those are guys I want to face. I've asked for all those guys, and kudos to Rosario for even taking the fight after taking a loss to Charlo. But this is part of my legacy. I want to fight all the top guys, and I feel like I'll deserve that fight next with Charlo or Castano winning.
Thanks, Erickson. I just have a couple questions for Jeison as well. Herman, how you doing?
Good, Keith. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, thanks. Just real quick for you, Herman, too. How much of an advantage is it, because you're so familiar with Erickson, even though he is a different fighter now and it was a while ago, how much of an advantage is it for you to have some inside knowledge of him as a fighter?
Well, he's a different fighter. He's right. So I don't think much of an advantage. I don't think a whole bunch could change, because then it's just another fighter, and that's not good either. I'm sure he has little things. I'm sure he's, improved on important things. But nevertheless, I know Lubin and his character and his person, and he's a great man, and he's a competitor, and he's coming to win. So, we know who we're in front of, and that kind of helps you prepare for somebody, because who you're confronting. So, I don't know necessarily that it gives us an advantage stylistically or even technically. I think you just got to prepare for somebody that, like he said, is not going to lay down and is coming, and that's for damn sure about him.
And Herman, just one more thing for you. What does it say about Erickson? As I mentioned to him, he's the #1 contender already for Charlo. What does it say about him and his confidence that he took this dangerous of a fight with a title fight, in his future already?
Well, I mean, he took the fight with Charlo when I thought maybe he was a little bit too green, and he was confident then. So that's not a question with Lubin, whether or not he's a confident person. He's very confident. He was a confident teenager beating on men in the amateurs. So, that's not an issue. The issue was early on. I think he was just rushed. And now he's probably very prepared and very ready for this fight, and has, ascended to this level of competition like he belongs. And he's, what he's saying. The only problem is that there's Jeison on the other side, and Jeison is not just come in the stand and just take his shots and just let him show off whatever he learned and whatever he perfected for this camp, because there's another side to this. So, you gotta get past that. And that's not going to be that easy either, because, I want to win also, so there's a lot invested here.
Thanks, Herman. I just have one question for Jeison as well. Can you ask him why this was the right fight for him at this time? Because he's obviously coming off a difficult defeat to Charlo, and this is a tough fight for him as well.
¿Por qué tú crees que esta pelea era la perfecta para ti, siendo que perdiste con Charlo, fue una pelea difícil? ¿Y por qué tú crees que esta pelea era la adecuada para ti en este momento?
Creo que nada es perfecto, pero sí realmente creo que las oportunidades se aprovechan, y creo que es una gran oportunidad para estar de nuevo en los primeros planos del boxeo y de la división de las 154 libras.
In his first defeat to Gallimore, he learned not to take anything for granted, and he's kind of lived with that and won his titles that way, and took that opportunity on somewhat of a short notice, he said, and obviously losing to Charlo was a great opportunity to even be fighting with him. And he's not the type to not now take advantage of an opportunity when it presents itself. And as it is, this is another opportunity to get right back in the picture and fight for the title. So you have to take this. Not everyone would. Erickson did, and for sure, you know, I just told you why. And Banana is a little cut from the same cloth. But yeah, it's the opportunity and the pride of actually fighting the best.
Herman, I actually just have one last question for him. He mentioned earlier that he did not watch the Charlo fight until last night. Why did he, I don't know if he avoided it or whatever, but why did he not watch it until last night?
¿Por qué te demoraste tanto para ver la pelea de Charlo? Porque esta noche nada más fue la razón.
Porque creo que yo aprendí luego de que aprendí de Gallo que de los errores se aprende, pero no se vive con los errores encima, porque los errores avanzar, te dejan aprender lo nuevo que viene.
He was there. He was live. He didn't really need to see it. It was playing in a loop in his head. So, you know, it's just coincidentally he saw it last night. That's it. You know, he learns from his mistakes, but he doesn't want to dwell on them. And here we are. We're sitting in a Zoom conversation on a pay-per-view card fighting Lubin. So if he would have dwelled on his past and cried and whined, maybe he wouldn't be here right now doing this. So he feels wholeheartedly that it's just an opportunity, and that's what he's put on this earth to do, is to fight, you know, and that's what he wants to do. He doesn't want to pick and choose, you know, any kind of scenario. You know, he didn't do it to get to where he got, and he doesn't want to start now. So that's why.
Thanks, Herman. Thanks, Jeison.
Yeah, gracias, Jason.
Thank you, Keith. We have time for one more question. We'll go to Crystal Hart.
Hi, for both fighters, first of all, I guess, Jeison, since you're there, right now it's the calm before the storm, but what happens when it comes fight night and all of a sudden you realize everything that's at stake? What do you do to calm your nerves, and do you have any particular ritual that you do before the fight?
Ahora mismo es la tranquilidad antes de la tormenta, viene la pelea. ¿Qué tú haces para tranquilizar los nervios antes de la pelea, ¿sabes? En el camarino o la noche anterior, etcétera?
Bueno, realmente los nervios le llamaría yo ansias. Creo que eso se calma tratando de pensar en la victoria.
Says that it's really not nerves, as I'm sure he believes any fighter will tell you, that it's more, you know, anxious. It's more, you know, let's get this party started scenario, you know, and that, you know, once the fight starts, the first punch is thrown, you're good to go. Other than that, not too many fighters can sleep pre-fight, you know, and it's expected, you know, so the ones that can, they're blessed with crazy gene, and the ones that can, it's probably just, that's the normal. So it's okay.
And Erickson, the same for you. Any particular thing that you do for being anxious or nervous, or any rituals that you do before the fight?
No, not really. I pretty much I eat the same things almost. I eat the same things. Nothing really too crazy. I'm always in my zone. I stay in my zone. I'm in my zone right now, and I've been in my zone this whole camp. So I just I stay in my zone. I stay fully focused until it's time to unleash in the ring.
Thank you.
Thank you, Crystal. Back to you, Brian.
All right, thank you very much. By the way, Hammer, what is it that you eat?
Oh, I eat a whole bunch. I eat a lot of pasta. I eat a lot of pasta before I go fight.
Okay,
That's mainly like my go-to.
Fantastic. Well, listen, I want to thank you again, Erickson to Hammer Lubin, 23-1, 16 knockouts. Banana, Jeison Rosario, former unified champ, 22-1, 14 knockouts. This is a WBC title eliminator. So again, the winner of this fight is basically fighting for the right to face Jermell Charlo, who has 3 of the 4 belts, who, by the way, will be fighting Brian Castano on July 17th on Showtime Championship Boxing. The winner of that will be the undisputed champion at 154, and the first undisputed champion at 154 in this 4-belt era. So obviously, lots of big fights here on Showtime. Want to thank Erickson Lubin. Want to thank Jeison Rosario, Brian Mendoza, Julian Williams, Leonard Ellaby. Always love to give you the last word here. We've heard from the fighters now. Give us a final word on what should we expect here on Saturday, June 26th.
Nothing but fireworks.
Unmute yourself, Lou. You muted yourself. There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Nothing but fireworks from all these fighters. I'm telling you, this division at 154 pounds, it is loaded. I mean, loaded from top to bottom. I mean, again, I'm just going to be sitting there ringside, man, and I got the best seat in the house. I just can't wait because this is going to be nothing but fireworks. Can't wait.
You're right about that. It's like a walking landmine, that entire division. All of these guys are really skilled and really good. And you're right. It just seems like one of them gets the belt, they pass it to the other one when they fight each other. It's going to be a great night. Thank you, Leonard. And thank you for joining us. And again, make sure you tune in to Showtime pay-per-view June 26th. You have Barrios and Tank Davis at the top of the division or at the top of the card. That's the main event. 4 fights in all. But man, I'll tell you from top to bottom, it should be one heck of a night.